Are you okay? 49% of founders say that they're considering quitting their startup this year. Watch this video so you don't have to be one of them. Hey everyone, my name is Jordan, and today we're going to be talking about probably the most important thing to understand in your business that gets overlooked so many times. I can't tell you how many times I've been on calls with potential clients and brands, and they just don't know the answers to these questions. If you're in the D2C and ecom space, understanding your COGS and OPEX should be your number one focus, as it's the baseline metric to understanding how scalable your brand actually is. And you may be thinking to yourself, Jordan, no shit, I have this all written down already. Well, then great. This video probably not for you, and it may just be a good refresher if you still want to check it out. However, I'm going to go over our Carbon Box Media client financial sheet, which we have every brand we bring on fill out before we spend any single cent on marketing. We need to understand what your break-even point is, what your shipping costs are. I'm going to go through all of that right now just so you can see. But if you're going to spend any money on marketing, you need to understand what your break-even metrics are. Okay, first off, let's define some key terms. COGS stands for cost of goods sold, and OPEX stands for operating expenses. These two financial metrics are the roots of your business. It's where everything starts, and it tells you how big your tree is going to grow. In today's competitive market, you can't just run ads and hope for the best. Some businesses might get lucky, but it's always better to sail with the wind rather than against it. I mean, imagine trying to hit a target that is 1,000 meters away and you're just shooting from the hip, hoping for the best. Versus, if you know your numbers, you go from shooting from the hip to aiming down a scope, having a spotter, understanding where the wind is blowing, understanding how high you are, the elevation, to adjust your shot to ensure that you hit the bullseye every single time. Now, in other words, just change target or bullseye to revenue goal. Don't you want to have the scope? Don't you want to have the spotter? Don't you want to have the most accurate business possible so you can understand, okay, if I aim here, this gives me a higher chance of me actually hitting my goals, right? Let's get into some other things. Something you need to understand, and this may not make me look like a professional marketer, so to speak, but all running ads does is just amplify what you've currently built. Do you want to amplify a toy car, or do you want to amplify a Ferrari? So with that being said, let's break down the components of COGS. This includes your margins, which are the difference between your selling price and the cost to produce the goods. Your retail price, or what you sell your product for. Your average order value, AOV, the average amount each customer spends per transaction. Shipping cost, what does it cost for you to get your product to the customer, whether that is national or international. Any transaction fees from payment processors, think Stripe, for example. Fulfillment costs, the cost of storing and shipping your product. So think manufacturers, think warehouses, think 3PL partners. So cost of any special offers or sales. So think about if your margins are 50% and you run a 10% site-wide sale for X period back to school, for example, how does that affect your margin? And then lastly, cost of distribution. After considering all these factors, you can calculate your gross margin, which is crucial for understanding your profitability. Because when you run ads, the goal always should be to be acquiring net new customers at a profitable rate, which in my opinion is the entire point to marketing. Cool. Next, let's talk about OPEX. These are your operating expenses, which can include rent for your office or warehouse, utilities, electricity, internet, salaries for your team, and then probably the most expensive is going to be your marketing and advertising costs. And just like COGS, tracking and managing your OPEX is just as important. It helps you understand your break-even point and how much you actually need to sell to cover your expenses. Understanding your break-even point is going to tell you to either push down the gas or put your foot on the brake and fix some things that need to get fixed, right? If you're getting a 5x return month over month and your break-even return on ad spend is a 1.5, slam on that gas pedal. But if your break-even return is a 2x and you're getting a 0.6, then hit the brake, go back, check your COGS, check your margins, see if there's some things to improve your margins, to improve your AOV. This video isn't about conversion rate or your lifetime value of your customers, but that is something that's incredibly important as well. Just fix your baseline metrics if you're not getting the positive return that you'd like. So how do you calculate and analyze your COGS and OPEX? So obviously use our Excel sheet. It's free. I don't need your name. I don't need your email. Just download it, use it. If it helps your business, great. That's a win for me. Also, whether you use QuickBooks, my Excel sheet below, or you create your own, review it every month. Check it out. Go with your team, see where you're currently at. How profitable were you? How negative were you? And then act accordingly. I like spreadsheets, and you may be a QuickBooks guy or girl, and that is your, moment of truth, or that is your scope of truth. But for me, there's nothing better than a spreadsheet. There's no tool out there that can calculate every single thing unless you're manually entering in everything. And that's just my personal opinion. You can disagree with me. You may have a software that I've never heard of before, but there's nothing better than just literally getting the receipt of how much something costs, entering it in, and literally getting the perfect, precise number of how positive or negative you were for the month, which is incredibly important. And you can automate that. There's a ton of zaps you can do to have an Excel sheet just update you month over month. Anyways, regardless of what you do, integrate some sort of financial analysis into your overall business strategy so you can make informed decisions. By doing this, you'll have a clear picture of your financial health and be better prepared to run successful ad campaigns. To wrap up, understanding your COGS and OPEX is crucial before you start spending any money on ads. It helps you make informed decisions and ensures you're aiming at the right targets. Hey, what's going on? I just wanted to go through the COGS sheet. Right now I'm calling you from the south of Italy because I'm with my girlfriend and her Italian parents, and it is hot. It is early September. August just ended, so we're still in summer. The AC isn't working, so if it looks like I've been working in the heat all day, it's because I have been. So prerequisite, let's get straight into the COGS sheet. So the whole point of this COGS sheet, again, like the video said, is you need to understand what scale looks like. You need to understand what your break-even KPI is, or what your COGS are, how much you need to spend at what KPI to ensure that you hit your target revenue, and just make sure that you're acquiring net new customers at a profitable rate. Or if you're a subscription brand with a low AOV, what LTV needs to be in order for you to essentially be profitable over time, right? So I'm going to get straight into it. This is where we start, is your retail price. And for this particular example or this particular client, they have a retail price of around $129. They're a one product brand, so their AOV is $129. But for your brand, add in the numbers that are in accordance with your retail price and your AOV, right? Shipping paid. So does the customer pay for shipping, or are you paying for shipping out of your own pocket? If you're paying for shipping out of your own pocket, just add whatever that is. But in this case, the customer is paying for the shipping, right? So in total, it's $129 in revenue. Now let's get into the negatives, which are red. COGS, cost of goods sold. So this is your shipping cost, transaction fees, fulfillment, cost of offer. So this cost of offer is italicized, and it's italicized for a very important reason. This may be, and if it's not right now, it will be in the future, your number one difference maker. Lord, I can't talk today. Your number one difference maker. If you can have an offer, and what does Alex Hormozi say? If you can have an offer so good people feel dumb saying no for your particular product, what does that look like? So the customer's happy, but now you can actually see, okay, this is a good offer for the customer, but I'm also still making X amount of profit. So if you have a $20 offer, right, then your margin turns into $67. But if you don't have any offer, then your margin turns into $87. So that's that. Mess around with that. Here you can type in your goals right here. We go over however many new customers you need, your ad spend, your total revenue, what the ROAS needs to be. That's stuff you can mess with yourself. Once you enter in this stuff right here, then you need to understand what the break-even CAC is for the 0-day, 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, 365 days, and what that break-even ROAS needs to be. Your LTV, I have this right here, and I'm going to go into Target here after, but we have this right here. If you are a consumables brand or you're a low AOV subscription brand, if you're not and you're looking to acquire net new customers at a profitable rate, then you should only care about net new customers until you're at the point where this makes sense, where you're thinking about 5-year goals where you can maybe lose profits for the year because within 3 years you're going to be tripling profits because you have all these net new customers inside your system. If you're under 7 figures a year, do not worry about this. Just don't focus on acquiring net new customers at a profitable rate. Your returning customer rate is going to be incredibly important, but this right here should not be your metric of truth, at least for right now. This is a very important metric. I don't want people to say, this guy thinks LTV doesn't matter. LTV absolutely matters. But if you're trying to get to 7 figures a year, this isn't your metric of truth for right now, right? It's acquiring net new customers at a profitable rate, and at what rate is actually profitable, right? So that's pretty much that. These are just screenshots that we've taken for fancy graph images. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. But what you want to be doing is just month over month, be going over this. Because if you have specific offers where you're like, wow, we ran this offer during Labor Day, for example, and it crushed, then when 2025 comes and it's Labor Day again, you can go back and be like, okay, we ran this offer. It was X amount of margins, and we were able to have our first 6-figure month. And this year we want to have our first 7-figure month, right? And we want to run this offer, but just push it out to all of our products. Again, it has to be customizable to your brand, and that's how we've built this out. So if you come here, this is the revenue goal that we're shooting for with this particular brand. It's over $1 million ARR. We're definitely going to hit that, which is super, super cool. But this is what this looks like. And this is really, really cool. You need to understand what your average CPA is. And your goal should always be to lower your CPA, but you also want to have this broad, like, okay, if this is our average CPA, what does our average CPA need to look like at a minimum for us to hit our revenue goal, right? And so revenue, we want 1.1 million. Ad spend, that's going to be around 400 grand. Operating expenses are 20,000. Contribution margin is 377,000. So with this ad spend, this revenue, the profit we make is around $357,000. So in total, that's 8,900 units. Again, with the CPA, and I wrote this right here, we feel comfortable having the CPA at scale. So what CPA do you feel comfortable with at scale? Because you need to have some sort of baseline CPA. Again, your CPA, it's going to go up and it's going to go down. And it's just the nature of the game. And it's based on seasonality. It's based on your offers. What is the CPA you feel comfortable with that you should have put in place where you can scale? Again, don't get me wrong. The goal is always to lower the CPA, but seasonality is a real thing. Running out of inventory is a real thing. There's always factors outside of our control that will alter the CPA. And I'm just being real with you. And that doesn't make me seem like this, amazing media buyer, but it's the truth of marketing. It's the truth of having a product, right? Having a high CPA on winter snowboard jackets in the middle of summer probably makes sense. Having a lower CPA at the end of fall when people are buying winter jackets probably makes sense. And there's really not a whole lot you can do with a product like that. So if your product is seasonal, just think about that, right? And again, come back to what CPA do you feel comfortable with at scale? And then you go to your marketing team, or you can come to us. Hi, Jordan White, founder of Carbonbox Media, and we can help achieve that CPA at scale. So we're hitting 7 figures ARR. Then the next goal from there would be to hit $500,000 every 2 months. And then the next goal from there would be to hit $1 million every 2 months. And then the next goal from there would be to hit $1 million every month, and just build you to basically have this system where paid traffic is taken care of, SEO is taken care of, content's taken care of, CR is taken care of. We're partnered with a bunch of 3PLs where you can have inventory always taken care of. And you have this brand that's set up where if you're looking to exit for $10 million to $30 million to $40 million, that you have a business that is, number one, systemized. If you're looking to keep the business and grow it to $100 million yourself, totally down. Or if you want to sell it for $40 million, we build a business that's incredibly attractive to the buyer, right? Somebody that would want to buy your business. And then you could just do it all over again. Again, that's up to you. But this video is about the COGS sheet. So this is the month over month unit breakdown and then the month over month revenue breakdown. And so this is how many units we had in each month, which is what you should be manually entering, and what the revenue was for that particular month. Again, for some of the lower months where we don't have a ton of revenue, or we don't have a ton of revenue, where we don't have a ton of units, the revenue affects that, right? And it's all based on how much inventory we have. Again, I will let you mess around with this. Contribution margin, ad spend. This is all incredibly important stuff. Fiddle around, enter in your own numbers. If you have any confusion, let me know. I'm an email away. Put it in the comments wherever you're seeing this video. But this is pretty much it. Download it. Again, mess around, have some fun, and just have some sort of method of truth so you know what metrics you need to be hitting so you can scale your brand.